Welcome to Get Paid for Your Pad, the definitive show on Airbnb hosting, featuring the best advice on how to maximize profits from your Airbnb listing, as well as real-life experiences from Airbnb hosts all over the world. Welcome. We are your hosts, Josefa Kapadia and Jasper Rivers.
Get paid for your pad. 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 Get paid for your pad.
All right.
Hello.
We're live on both platforms, on Facebook and on Instagram. Welcome, everybody. Podcast episode 244. It is.
Awesome.
204 podcast
Congratulations.
episodes.
I feel like
Sweet.
I need I'll just sit up straighter. I need like a telephone book or something. Is your seat raised?
Yeah, I can put it down a little bit. Is this better?
There we go. Yeah.
All right, sweet. So my name is Jasper. I'm the host of Get Paid for Your Pad. We're doing a podcast episode live. We're going to be discussing some recent updates about Airbnb, some news stories that came out. This is Nicole
Hi.
Princess Williams. She is the VP of Strategic
Partnerships for Hostfully.
at Hostfully.
Right.
And Hostfully, of
Good.
course, is the platform that you can use to send digital guidebooks to your Airbnb guests, which is, I've been using it. It's really cool. What's going on at Hostfully? Anything new?
We have some new features, some new branding features, splash pages, and we're helping our clients get their agreements front and center before people get onto the guidebooks and stuff and see the branding. So, and you can also track your who's using the guidebook as well as get new emails for remarketing.
Oh,
so,
sweet.
say one person books and then they bring in 4 other people. So, it's really helping our clients scale.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
One question I have is, can you use videos in the guidebook yet?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can embed video so that you watch it within the guidebook,
Oh, sweet.
and you don't get taken to another YouTube page or anything. So it's easy.
That's really cool. Because actually, that's what I've been working on in Cali, in Colombia, for a new Airbnb listing. I've gone to the airport with my buddy, and I've basically recorded a video where I'm welcoming people to the city, and also I'm walking around the airport showing people, hey, you can get some cash.
Awesome.
Here you get a local SIM card. All right, this is what it costs. Here's how you order the Uber. Here's how you put in the address. So just to give people like a welcome introduction video that they can actually see. Hey, this is what happens if I arrive at the airport.
Yeah,
right, this is how I get to the apartment.
That's awesome. I want to see that, and you can actually put that in the welcome message, which is front and center when your guests open the guidebook. So it will be at the top, which is great.
Right. And you can, on Airbnb, you can put a link to the guidebook in the message, right?
Yes, on Airbnb, yeah. So once the booking is confirmed, you can send the guidebook URL really easily.
Yes, because before the booking is confirmed, like you can't send any links, right?
Right, but you probably wouldn't want to. You wouldn't want to tell them everything before they book anyway.
Yeah. So that makes sense. So I'm excited to get my own guidebook up once I'm starting Airbnb in my place in Colombia. All right, let's see. What's new? There's a bunch of news stories out there. Let's start with the co-host split payment option. I've seen a lot of people in one of the Facebook groups complain about this because this was such a nice feature, right?
Yeah,
you can let's say you have somebody who manages your apartment, and you basically assign a person as a co-host, and you could just assign a percentage, and then that percentage of the earnings would go to the co-host automatically, so you don't have to deal with all the administration and transferring money and stuff. And so
easy operations.
Yeah, it just makes things really easy. But Airbnb now sent out an email that they're going to cancel this co-hosting option, which is really a shame. It's going to be canceled by August 1st, 2018. So you no longer be able to split payments. Now, there's somebody in my Get Paid for Your Pad Facebook group who's actually suggested a workaround. So if you look at my group, he's posted a link to instructions and stuff there. So shout out to Francisco, by the way. Thank you for sharing that. That's really useful information. But anyway, another thing you can do if you also don't like the fact that Airbnb's got rid of this option, go to airbnb.com/help/feedback, and there you can provide Airbnb with feedback and let them know that we want to keep this co-host split payment option, and they shouldn't get rid of it.
Yeah, they did that recently with the cancellation fee. There was guests can cancel. There's not going to be any more fee. Did you get an email like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, they send out the emails. They make the decisions. I don't know if there's feedback that they're requesting or.
It's always interesting when Airbnb has something coming out that they know that hosts are going to like. They make a big deal out of it, and they create like a web page and announcements and everything. But if they roll out something that they know that the hosts aren't going to like, then they're just going to sneak it in there and send an email. Say, "Hey, I'm sorry, like this is no longer going to be available. I hope you're having fun on Airbnb. Goodbye."
Right, and who reads all your emails? So sometimes you don't even find out until you're actually maybe one of the co-hosts isn't getting paid.
yeah, totally. So,
for all you co-hosts out there. We're letting you know now.
And by the way, we're watching the comments and everything that people are submitting. Somebody asked when I will be in Puerto Rico. I was actually just there a month ago, so I probably won't be going again for a while. But Puerto Rico is awesome though, so everyone should definitely check it out. Huh?
Did you have a meetup there?
I was speaking at a conference there. It was like a real estate conference. Talking about meetups, we had a meetup here in Santa Monica on Friday. That was fun.
It was very nice. It was good turnout too.
Yeah.
It was right by the beach.
Yeah.
You picked a great location.
Herringbone, yeah. $1 oysters.
Yeah, it was good. And Hostfully Host was there. Mike.
Yeah.
Mike.
That's right.
Shout out to Mike.
Mike Claremont.
Claremont, yes.
Check him out. He's a musician. Mike Claremont Music is his website. He's a host in Venice. He was on the podcast actually. Let me just quickly check. It was there it is, episode 163. You can learn about Mike and his Airbnb in Venice. He had some bed bugs. That was kind of an issue, but if you want to learn how to prevent those type of issues and what to do if that happens to you, then podcast episode 163. Check it out. It was a good turnout. There was somebody who rents out here in Santa Monica, actually, and I didn't notice. I thought it was illegal in Santa Monica, but they handed out 200 business licenses. So some people are able to do it, and they're making good money.
Yeah,
I can tell you that. It's like, if you're one of the few ones who can rent out, that's kind of nice, right? You can just
absolutely.
up your prices and little competition. So
good business for him.
Absolutely. Let's see. I guess a big story is the story that came out of New York. Now, this is obviously going on like for a long time, right? Airbnb is fighting against the hotel industry in New York, and now they did some research, and what they found out was that a lot of the councilmen are actually just directly getting paid by the hotel lobby. They're literally transferring like $10,000, $15,000, $30,000 to these people to vote against Airbnb. There was an article in the New York Post, and let me actually look at the exact amounts here because they mentioned it. The article is called "The Real Reason New York City Councilmen Are Trying to Squash Airbnb." So they're saying they're doing it to protect affordable housing, but
almost 460,000 in total. The hotel industry has invested in city council races for 2013 and 2017. And then Corey Johnson took home 15,000, Rivera 33,000. I mean, I don't see that ending. And yeah, it's a shame. Surprising. I don't know. It happens in a lot of industries. I mean, maybe the vacation rental industry just needs to do the same. I mean, they're making the money. So
Airbnb's got a couple $100 billion cash probably. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you can't beat them, join them.
Right. But yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of like crazy how this influences policy and decision making, and you would expect it in a democracy that shouldn't really be happening, right? But
it happens in the gun industry, and so it's yeah, I'm sorry to to awaken this to you in the United States, but this is what's happening.
This is how
People
things
are getting
work
paid
out.
off, so
Yeah.
maybe not in Colombia or the Netherlands. But
Oh, well, I don't know about that. But.
Well, probably Colombia, yeah.
But yeah, I guess, money buys everything.
How did they find this out? I didn't see that. How did they discover this?
I'm not sure, actually, but I saw a lot of news items about this. Like, a lot of newspapers are writing about it.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure they mentioned the sources somewhere.
Sounds like there was an investigation, though.
Let's see, what else is going on? Have you heard about Peak?
Yes.
The experience platform?
Mm-hmm. They just got a big fund, a big raise of $23 million. That was their Series B. So they're competitors with the Airbnb experiences, and they're probably their main competitor, I think.
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Peak's been around for quite a while. Because I remember in 2014, I was kind of working on an idea to start an online sharing platform for sports instructors.
Oh, okay.
That never ended up happening. But in my research, I looked at Peak, and they already had like a lot of experiences on their platform in 2014. So I can only imagine now, 4 years later, and they've raised 23 million?
This time, 40 million to date.
Right.
I was just trying to see what cities they're in, or how many cities.
I mean, they're definitely all over the US.
Yeah.
I've looked at that platform before, and it's kind of funny because I never realized they're actually an Airbnb competitor. Because they became one when Airbnb launched their experiences program. So now, another interesting question is could Peak be an interesting Airbnb takeover target, right?
Yeah.
Instead of trying to build. Grow organically on the experiences side for Airbnb, they could just scoop up Peak and just get all those people on their platform too.
They can afford it, so
they can definitely afford it. Yeah,
they say they have 10,000 experiences in the U.S. and Mexico,
right?
And as well as spots like Paris and London. So, this will help them expand. And
500,000 reviews and ratings. Interesting. So if you guys want to do some experiences, check out peak.com. Talking about Airbnb going public and raising money and all that kind of stuff. We've talked a lot about speculating about, when Airbnb is going to go public. And now Chesky has actually announced that they will do it before 2020. And I think the reason is that a lot of the employees and a lot of the investors, they're really waiting for this IPO, right? Because they want to cash out. The employees that have been given like stock options, so they have the right to a certain amount of stocks, and right now they're probably not really able to sell these stocks, right? Because they're not publicly traded.
It says though he's offering cash bonuses and giving employees an opportunity to sell their stock for cash every quarter instead of every year. So he's kind of making a little compromise, which maybe won't cut so deep into his pockets when they actually do. An IPO in 18 months or so? Yeah,
well, he said he'd be ready by June 2019. So I guess that's in 1 year, but definitely before 2020. He said. Mm-hmm. So are you going to buy any Airbnb shares? Or?
I should have bought some a long time ago.
Well, yeah.
Same with Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. But how do you do that though? Let's say like early on when Airbnb was just getting started. Like how do you get access to investing in these type of companies, because they usually go to the VC companies and stuff, like as an individual. Like how does that work?
I think you have to work with your stockbroker or your trader to actually, but they should be the one that's feeding you the information. I just do mutual funds, which is aggregated and all lumped together. So I don't have time to actually find these up and coming companies, but those two I wish I would have known. And
for sure. Yeah. And then it's so interesting that, Airbnb had so much trouble finding investors, right? And they spent a couple of years going around to more than 100 investors, VC companies and stuff, and nobody wanted to put money in Airbnb. Why would you
want to sleep on somebody's couch? Why would you want to sleep in somebody's apartment?
Exactly. Are you crazy? Like these random people from the internet, how many psychos are out there? Like, are you crazy?
Now it's taken over the world.
Right. But yeah, that would have been an awesome opportunity to invest in Airbnb. I've done some angel investing myself actually, but often these type of companies, especially if they're already if they're able to raise a lot of money through VC companies, then they're not really looking for like these random individuals,
Yeah,
right? They usually look at people who can actually bring something to the table,
Yeah.
right? If you have connections or you have expertise that you can help,
They
them
wouldn't
with
want
something.
my cash. Not my cash.
All right, let's go to the next item. We're looking at Book a Classic. It's a classic car rental website. A website where you can basically rent an old car, like an old timer, and Airbnb has partnered with Book a Classic to offer classic car rentals to Airbnb guests. And so this is only going to be available on the luxury retreats. So it's the subsidiary that the Airbnb bought in last year in November or something, was it? They paid $300 million for it. I think it was a Canadian site. Mm-hmm. It's for high-end Airbnbs. And so, this is kind of interesting because that's a kind of a logical next step for Airbnb to offer car rentals now.
Yeah, and especially that fits with the theme, the luxury theme, and it brings the whole experience 360 if they're talking about experience. So, I haven't seen what kind of inventory of classic cars they have, but this one looks pretty amazing. I wouldn't turn that one down, a little convertible. Let's do it. There's a DeLorean.
There's a lot of interesting cars on that platform.
Yeah.
And what's kind of cool is so if you stay at a luxury retreat spot, you can rent a car and have it parked at the property before you arrive. So you arrive and your old timer is already ready. The keys are there. You just jump in and cruise around and explore the neighborhood, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, they're talking about having a Ferrari ready for you if you have a trip booked to Italy, or a Mustang if you're in the U.S., and just live the whole experience of wherever you are. So,
by the way, my buddy Davey, who I interviewed on the podcast, he lives in LA. He has a pretty big business. I don't know if you met him at the meetup in Santa Monica. He came a little later.
Oh, okay.
But he actually asked me, he was like, hey man, you should interview somebody from Turo, or more specifically, somebody who's using Turo to rent out their car, because, as an Airbnb host, you're already comfortable with sharing your house.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of people who would be comfortable sharing their car as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so for those who are looking to make some extra money, somebody is actually commenting. John, shout out to John. And he says, I have cars on GetAround. Haven't had too many guests use them, but it's a nice side income. So my question to you, John, would be: have you used Turo? Because I feel like Turo is that the market leader in that space, or is it GetAround? I'm not sure, but maybe John knows this.
John, do you know? And John, what cars do you have on GetAround that you're going to move over to Turo? Would love to know that.
I wonder if you can do if there's software out there where you can manage multiple cars on multiple listings.
Oh,
and stuff.
Yeah, hey, anybody out there in the software biz?
Yeah. That could be a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Turo. So I actually found somebody on Instagram who apparently makes a lot of money on Turo, and it's kind of like has a YouTube channel talking about how he's doing it and everything. So I'm gonna try and get this person on the podcast so we can learn and learn about how to rent out and how much money you could potentially making. We've got another comment on Instagram: getting ready to use Turo in an upcoming trip to San Diego. Okay, so that's the other side of the equation, right? You can also rent cars on Turo. Yeah. You can rent somebody else's car on Turo. All right, so let's see. An Acura and an Avalon.
Oh, okay.
Interview me, Turo similar. Okay, well, we're going to okay, so John, you're going to be on the podcast. I'll send you a message later. I'm sure we've communicated before. So we'll get you on the podcast.
I should try it for my electric car.
Oh, yeah.
You can't go very far, though. It's only 90 miles, so it's like a zip around town if you just need a car to zip around and not pay gas, and free parking.
Yeah, that's really nice. And by the way, have you seen the birds and the limes?
Oh, yeah.
Here?
Everywhere.
No,
well, their headquarters you could walk to their headquarters from here. It's in Venice. But they're everywhere here.
And they're awesome. I love these things. So for those who are not familiar, I don't know if these things are anywhere outside of Santa Monica or Venice or Los Angeles, but so basically, birds and limes are little, what do you call them? Little scooters?
Electric scooters.
Electric scooters. And you can rent them anywhere. They're basically just parked all over the place. You simply download the app, you scan the code, and then you just jump on and take off, and you just leave it at your destination, and you take a picture to show that you've parked it well, and boom, that's it.
Yeah.
You pay like $1, maybe $2 per ride or something. And I haven't used a single Uber since I arrived.
Oh, really? You're just doing
I'm using these things. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Right? You just jump on, you cruise
fun.
around. Yesterday, I cruised around the beach for a couple hours, just like cruising around, checking out what's going on. Anytime you see something fun, you just jump off.
Yeah.
And you hang out, and when you're done, you jump back on.
And
boom,
around here,
go.
you can find, they're literally on every corner, it seems.
Yeah.
There's a few. So you can easily hop back onto any one that's sitting around that you find.
Oh, yeah. It's so easy.
Yeah.
A shout out to Davey Joan, my buddy. He says, "What's up?" on Facebook.
Hey, Davey.
So, Davey, I listen to you, man. Like, Davey told me to find somebody to interview about Turo and car sharing. So we got two people now. We got John, and we got this other guy that I found.
Electric, I think it's a great idea, especially in the downtown area. The client doesn't have to worry about putting gas
in. Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. Yeah. Sweet. So that will be coming up. Let's see what else. Oh, I saw an article about some Airbnb-friendly regulations in Switzerland. I thought it was really interesting because the Swiss government is proposing to allow people who rent apartments to sublet on Airbnb. And the regulation that they're proposing is that the landlord, they have to let the landlord know, and they need like a little note from the landlord that they're okay with it. But here's the interesting part.
Okay.
The landlord has to have a good reason in order to reject.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So it has to be a legitimate reason. The landlord can't just say like, "Hey, no, sorry, I don't want this." They have to have a good reason. Like, for example, there's we don't want you to like hide the key outside of the apartment or something. That's a security risk, right?
Right.
So if you don't have a good, like an automated key lock, or you're welcoming your guest personally or whatever, or if there's some reason why, the neighbors or something, could be another reason.
What if they had like one bad experience before? Could they use that as a reason? So
the article doesn't mention exactly what is a legitimate reason,
okay.
but at least it's interesting that they that they're going that route.
Yeah, and it opens it up for conversation, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now the one thing is, this is like countrywide regulations, and so the how do you call that? The counties, they're still allowed to come up with their own regulations, right? So, for example, in Geneva, I think there's a 60-day rule, and Geneva is one of the biggest cities in Switzerland. They're coping with similar problems as in like San Francisco and New York, where rents are really high and it's hard to find housing and stuff. So they did restrict it there, but in any case, it's interesting to see that. At least there's a government who's kind of thinking along with Airbnb and, enabling people to take advantage of these platforms instead of just like prohibiting everything.
Yeah, well, Switzerland is known for being open-minded, so
right.
Thank you, Switzerland.
Thank you, Switzerland, yeah.
Thank you for leading the way on that. Hopefully more will follow.
Yeah, it's setting good examples.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we have here. We have Hip Camp. Have you heard of Hip Camp?
Yeah. It's to find camping spots, isn't it? Or they have it's like an Airbnb for camping.
Exactly. It's one of the many Airbnb niche clones.
Yeah.
Exactly. that are out there, and I never heard of this one, by the way. But
I just saw it in Skift. That's how I haven't used it myself.
Right.
They raised $9.5 million.
Yeah, they raised a bunch of money. And it's really cool. So if you have a large garden or you have a piece of land, but you don't have an actual house to rent out or a room, you can just rent out your land. You can say, hey, you can put your what do you call them? Those mobile houses, RVs or something.
Yeah, the RV house.
RVs.
Yeah, they can move.
You can put your RVs on my land, or you put up like a tent or something.
Yeah, I think you would. I mean, how would it work though if you don't have like a sewer system and stuff in that area? Like, would they just pitch a tent and come in your house? I mean, I think an RV might be safer at this point.
I mean, there might be some bushes around.
Yeah.
Just go back in time. Let's do things old school. Yeah.
yeah. That as long as the guest is okay with it, you're not going to get a bad review. There were no toilets. There were no.
What do you mean there were no toilets? There's a tree right there.
Exactly. I need to check out that site. I want to see some reviews of what they say, where people are using the restroom. As a woman, that's like my first question. Where is the restroom?
And is it clean, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's right. I'm actually looking on the site right now,
cool.
and it looks like some people are even renting out like little caravans or even like little bungalows that they have. So I guess it's not just for people
who bring their own stuff. I know this place actually down the Reptacular Animals. We had a birthday party there, so that you could pitch it. There's a tent up, and who knew that this happened? Maybe I need to do another birthday party there, a sleepover.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And there's a llama and a zebra, and you get to see these cool animals.
That's my favorite animal.
Really?
Zebra.
Oh wow, they have one there. It's only about an hour up the road.
I gotta go. I love zebras.
You could go to the LA Zoo too.
I've always dreamed about having a pet zebra, but my mom didn't allow it.
Oh wow.
So I got a rhino instead.
What?
Just kidding.
Oh.
Another question. I heard you say last week you look for 10% returns. That seems mighty low. I made $50K on a 3 to 5 bedroom in Portland last year for a house with a $24,000 a year mortgage. Yeah, that's right. So the thing is, John, I'm talking about non-leveraged. So unfortunately, I can't get mortgages. So if you can, then more power to you. And I'm sure you can make more when you leverage. But so I'm paying cash for my properties, which is also why I go to countries where nobody can get a mortgage, basically. Or, like in Colombia, for example, local people can get a mortgage, but they're paying 12%, right? Mm. So then, it's not really that much of an advantage.
Right.
All right, let's see. So, yeah, some cool stuff out there on HipCamp. If you haven't looked at it, it could be a nice alternative to.
Yeah, it looks cool.
It's romantic when it's not too cold. You're lying in a little tent and you're watching the stars and stuff, and it could be a good experience, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also part of that whole culture of experiences. These are really cool experiences. You're not going to forget the Rainbow Studio or camping at Reptacular Animals.
Absolutely.
So, awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And when there's a zebra, I think if you have a zebra, you could probably charge $50 a night extra, right?
Yeah.
Just for being able to pet the zebra. And
especially for you.
I'd pay a lot more than that. Yeah. All right. Let's see. So one more question. Let's see. Where in the world are the highest returns happening in your experience? So, from my perspective, what I've seen in my travels, I've been to over 80 countries or so in the last 5 years or so, and I've always looked at potential investment opportunities. And the way I think it is, I think about accessibility, right? Do people with money have access to this market? Mm-hmm. And in theory, everybody has access. But if I buy something in the Philippines, for example, all my friends who live in the US and in Holland and in Europe, they're all like, man, you bought something in Philippines? I would never buy something there. Because because what if there's no good juridical system or something and you lose it. And you have to be careful, right? Because I interviewed my buddy Patrick in Cali, and he lost $100,000, buying land in Colombia. And, you have to be careful when you're a foreigner and you buy something in countries where you're not familiar with the system, and people can scam you and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I think that alone keeps a lot of people out. The fact that the perception of most people is that it's risky and it's maybe dangerous, and so there's a threshold, right? And also the fact, like I said, you can't get a mortgage, or the mortgage rates are really high in a country where mortgage rates are more than 10%. The real estate market isn't as leveraged yet, right? It's not as pumped. The prices aren't as elevated yet because the financing is just much more expensive. So So yeah, what I've seen is those countries like Thailand, Philippines, and Colombia where I bought property. That's where I saw the most opportunity, and I think it's because of that reason. Because people are just kind of like hesitant to invest in those places because they kind of like their perception of the risk is much higher. I mean, if you live in the U.S. and you buy in the U.S., it feels very comfortable. Like when I bought my apartment in Amsterdam, the idea that it could one day just be gone. I mean, that idea never came to my mind, because I know this country. I'm familiar with the laws and the law enforcement and stuff. But I mean, when I bought my property in the Philippines, actually, it felt a little scary. I'm sending over $100,000 to some bank account in the Philippines, and then it's like, okay, well, let's hope that I actually get a house in return. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, right. I have a document, but I mean, I don't know.
Because how long from when you bought it did you actually go there?
So it's actually ready right now. It's
okay.
The resort is just opening up. So I'm going in October.
Okay.
And I have a contract and I have a proof of ownership. But hey, you see what happened to Patrick in Colombia, right? He thought he owned it. So I don't know if I go up there and they say like, I'm sorry, Mr. Rivers, like we don't have any records of you owning this property. I can go to the court but who knows, right?
Right.
So it is a bit scary to invest in those places, but at the same time, it's also kind of exciting. So we'll see. We'll see. I hope that.
It sounds like you've done a lot of research, though, and.
Well, I have, but I mean, there's only so much you can do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you listen to Patrick's story, I mean, he really like didn't do anything wrong, right? He got a lawyer, he got some local expertise and stuff like that. So, I mean, you just never know. You know what I mean?
How is it going for you in Colombia?
Oh, I mean, Colombia is great.
Yeah.
And they're. I feel pretty comfortable with Colombia just because I've known the company that I work with for so long. I've known them for 4 years. I know they have a lot of investments. I know a lot of people who've invested with them. And so, I kind of feel like that these guys know their stuff. And so I'm not too worried about those ones. I'm more worried about the ones in the Philippines and the ones in Thailand, especially because they're not done yet. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, we'll see.
All right.
But just,
you have a good attitude.
I'll say, like, hopefully everything will be fine.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, yeah, hopefully that answers your question, John.
Happened to me in Portland?
Yeah,
wow.
that happened to me in Portland. Let's see. I have to read the whole comments. I only do a 30-day rentals at this point, but that's not a viable model. Would you mind sharing how much you paid in Colombia and what the nightly rental is and vacancy rate? So I actually have a very extensive blog post on my website, getpaidforyourpad.com. If you just Google penthouse in Cali, it actually shows up on the first page.
And I saw the pictures, and it's stunning. The penthouse is stunning.
It's really awesome, man. I mean, I just got back from there, right? I spent a couple of weeks staying there. I've actually rented it out now for 5 nights at $80 a night. I paid just under $150,000, and that's including everything. So that's including the remodeling, the furniture, the wine opener, a little like remote, how do you call these little beatbox speakers?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
that's great.
Everything is included.
That's amazing. When you see the pictures, your jaw will drop that you got that for $100, everything for $150.
Yeah, and it's a 2-bedroom penthouse. It has a roof terrace, and so it's awesome. So I've been renting it out for $80 a night, which I think eventually on Airbnb, because I haven't started on Airbnb yet. I'm waiting for a pump to be installed because the water pressure is kind of low. And once I list it on Airbnb, I'm charging a high-end rate compared to other places in Cali. I really want it to be perfect. It has to be at a certain standard. But still, like $80 a night is already a good start. If you rent it out for 20 days, that's 1,600 times 12 is, I think I mentioned this last time too, 19,200. So take like 30% cost or something, then you're pretty much getting to like around 10%. But I think I could probably charge like 100 or 120 eventually on Airbnb after I get good reviews and stuff. Yeah. But while I'm waiting for a couple other improvements to be installed, I've actually rented it to a couple of friends of mine So they're going to stay there for 2 months. And they were very excited about that. They asked me like, "Hey, can we please stay at your place because it's so sick?"
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I thought that'd be good. I just rented it to them for like $1,000 for 2 months. So I'm getting some money in while I wait for the improvements, and then I can also get some feedback from them about what is there anything else I should get for this place? Is there anything missing? Because one thing that I noticed is you really have to stay at a place for a while to really understand, like, what do you need and what's the little things, you know?
Right.
For example, one of the bathrooms, like one of the closets, if you open it, it has an iron handle and it kind of hits the glass wall of the shower. And these are just tiny little things that just put a little little rubber on the glass so it doesn't make this noise, and it doesn't it's not going to break and anything. So these are just little things that you don't find out until you actually live there, right?
Yeah. I think you're definitely going to need a Hostfully guidebook, because my guess is people will not know where to go in Cali when they show up.
I'm definitely going to make an awesome guidebook, and it's going to have lots of videos in there, and I'm really excited to get this going. Actually, I already recorded the videos at the airport. Like I said, it was so much fun. Like
awesome.
Me walking around the airport, and there's just people watching. Like, what's this guy doing? And he's being filmed walking around the airport. I actually was wondering if the security would allow it.
Oh yeah, I know, huh?
But it was all good, We just gave them some empanadas, and they were happy. So.
Pay them off with empanadas.
That works really well in Colombia.
That's awesome.
They love empanadas.
You have to put that tip in there.
All right, I think we've kind of gone through all our news stories.
Awesome, good, lots of news.
Yeah. So
Good stuff.
Thanks everybody for listening. If you're listening to the podcast. I'm doing these things live every week now. We did this at 11 a.m. PST. I'll try to do 10:30 every week, but we were running a little bit late. But 10:30, 11, I'll always send out an email. So if you haven't subscribed to my email list, you can subscribe at getpaidforyourpad.com. I'll do this every Monday, so you can watch live on Instagram. You can watch live on Facebook. But of course, you can also listen to the podcast in the usual way on iTunes or SoundCloud or whatever other way you're using. It's on the website. It's on YouTube. So there's lots of ways to listen to the podcast. But if you wanna watch live and you wanna ask some questions, just get on Instagram, Get Paid for Your Pad. Get on Facebook, Get Paid for Your Pad, and you'll be able to watch. Live. It's really fun this way. We've had a lot of people watching and commenting and stuff. It just makes these podcasts like more interesting and more engaging, more interacting, and it's just
having
it's
the live guests is great.
Yeah, it's fun to do for us. It's fun for everybody. So if you're listening to this next Monday, 10:30 a.m. PST, that's 1:30 Eastern time.
Yes.
Tune in. Get Paid for Your Pad on Instagram or Facebook, and you'll be able to ask questions and watch it live. I think next week I'm gonna have a local host here in Los Angeles. Come on,
awesome!
And we're gonna have the person from Turo. Awesome. I don't know if we can do it live, but anyway, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and of course next week on Monday we'll be back with another one. And to everybody who's been watching on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you guys so much for joining. It was awesome. We had a great time. And hopefully you'll be back next time.
Thanks for all your questions.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Get paid for your pad. 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 Get paid for your pad.